What's up, Fumble fam? I'm Brooke.
And I'm Noelle, and you're listening to Girls Don't Fumble, the #1 sports podcast for NFL Girl Talk.
We sift through all the football news so you don't have to.
Let's get into it.
I was going to initiate a cheers. Can you clink? Cheers. So if you guys heard that cheers, it's because it's a Friday. We're recording at 10 p.m. And maybe you guys are thinking, do you guys have nothing better to do
On a Friday?
And the answer is no. We're really happy to be here. We're having a good night. We got Kazunori. We got wine.
We got wined and dined by ourselves, for ourselves.
No sponsors of today's episodes, unfortunately.
But we're also cheersing to a very special event that happened, when was it? A week ago? 2 weeks ago?
Oh my God, did you already forget?
No, but it just feels like so much time. We've worked so hard this week. It feels like so much time has passed. So yes, it was last week, wasn't it? It was.
It's going to be 6 days ago, but
Yeah.
who's counting? Period. So it was my birthday. Ooh.
Yay, Taurus season.
Taurus season is here. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day is my birthday. And I'm not going to say my age on the podcast because a lady never says her age.
Absolutely not.
But it was such a fun weekend. Got all the gals together for a little party bus. We did a JCPenney themed photo shoot.
So
Noelle
fun.
was there. We got some new podcast photos. We're like, actually now everybody out of the frame because we're the stars now and we need to get some
GDF
content.
is here and you guys need to get out of the photo
Yeah.
right now. If you guys saw our recent social post, that's where it's from. If you're wondering, why do they look like they're from the 90s? That was the theme.
And why do they look so flawless? Professionally edited.
Yeah, we are makeup artists and also we take great photos.
Thank you. So yeah, it's my birthday. I'm another year older, which is, you know, it's something to think about. Not too hard because I'll have a crisis, but feeling good, feeling happy about it. And the funny thing that happened was, so we went out all day and, you know, just got after it. And I ended up falling asleep on my couch at like 7 p.m. And when I woke up, there was just faint sounds coming out of my TV. And I was like, where am I? What day is it? What's going on? I turn over to my left and what do I see on the TV? But my eyes are coming into focus. It's a green field. There's some whistles being blown. Am I hearing a score? Is that a football I see flying by? Yes, it is. As my eyes come into focus, I realize it is the 2020 National Football Championship. It is LSU versus Clemson.
What an iconic game.
And why was this on at 2 a.m. why was this what I was like, did I die yesterday? And have I entered heaven? Like, how did this get on?
When I got the text from you and you said, why is this playing right now? And it was probably like 2:30 in the morning. I think I was awake. I don't know why. Maybe I saw it in the morning, but it was the best. It was the best text I've ever gotten because Pete and I have watched that video and the highlights from that game so many times. It's an iconic game.
It was amazing. And I was just happy. Like, you know, when you just to be vulnerable with the fumblers, because who else would be vulnerable with when you've been drinking all day and then that immediate like waking up and it's like just immediate anxiety. And I was so comforted by seeing this game on my TV that I fully just stayed up and watched it. And I was like, this is the best thing I could have asked for. And I was like, it's kind of like a prequel to Joe Burrow being in the NFL, Trevor Lawrence being in the NFL. It was such a star-studded game and also very good because LSU kind of started out not very strong, but knowing what I knew they were going to come back and win. But I was like, they come back and win from this? It's simply not looking good.
Yeah.
But you know, Joey didn't give up.
He didn't. And you know, all the fumblers know that the girls here are big fans of Joey B. Mm-hmm. That game kind of led him to his stardom, and all of the players, like he has Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on his side. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence has T. Higgins, who now plays for Joe Burrow. That was such an iconic game, and it really was just a sneak behind the hood of what we see in the NFL now and all these rivalries, because now some of them play together, some of them don't, most of them don't. I loved this text and it was the greatest thing I've ever gotten. I'm like, yes, girl.
And if you could have just seen me try, like my shaky hands holding my phone up to the screen because I was like, I need to send this to Noelle. And then I was like, but I need Joe Burrow to get in the picture. And my shaky hands were like trying so hard to get a picture of Joe. And I have so many live photos.
That's why it was blurry. That makes sense.
No. It was like, she needs to understand what I'm going through now, but it kept just being like random members of the team that I was like, this isn't going to capture the moment.
Yeah.
But it was really like a Bengals prequel, and I was so excited to be a part of it. Also, you guys know I don't like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I feel strongly about that, but I will give him his flowers of saying he was a freshman in that game.
That's wild.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know what year he was, but definitely younger. I don't think he graduated until maybe 2 years after that.
He was real good.
Yeah.
Still hate him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that game and speaking about our boy, Joey B, Joe Burr, Joe Shiesty, however you want to call him. There were some photos and videos circling the internet this week because Joey B is back on the field and possibly back on the market.
He's back in a big way.
Yes.
On the fields and maybe on Hinge.
Not a sponsorship, by the way.
I know.
So lots of big news about one of our favorite quarterbacks, Joey B. We love to talk about him. He's obviously like my ride or die. I love him so much. So seeing him just throwing back on the field, back in the Bengals during training camp, it meant so much to me. And there were so many great photos of him with like his backwards like cap on. Like it was like just some random like Bengals baseball hat, and it was just
gorgeous.
He just looks amazing, and we love to see it. And he obviously had a really bad injury last year. It was season ending. It was a torn wrist ligament. And supposedly he's one of the only QBs in the NFL that have suffered this kind of injury before. Like throughout his rehab program, he's reached out to other players, and a lot of them have been like linebackers and people who just don't have the same kind of rehab to train your wrist because you use it so much as a QB. He's kind of had to face a lot of unknowns throughout this rehab process, which has been scary for him. But he's back on the field. He's talking to the press, and he seems in good spirits. He says he has his good days when, you know, he's feeling okay, and he has his days when like his wrist is a little sore, and I'm sure that will kind of linger for, I imagine, the next few years. But we got to keep that man safe, and we know that through this draft we got some really strong offensive linemen that are hopefully going to protect this man. But we're excited to see it. It was a good day to be a Bengals fan. Good week.
And it was just this week that he's back and these photos are releasing.
Yes.
Because I was telling Noelle before we were recording that I am now getting so many photos and videos of Joey B on my timeline because it's, you know, something that Noelle likes and our algorithms have synced, if you would.
I get a lot of Justin Herbert now too.
That is so supportive and nice. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I have to send this to Noelle. I look down, she's already liked it. It's like 36 seconds after it's posted.
I'm quick with it. I'm quick with the Joey
Never
B.
mind. She already saw it. Also, this is a complete side note, but I'm remembering this is not the game that he got injured. I hate to bring up something triggering for you. Last season, I was out at one of my friend's birthdays, like watching the game. And so I was like kind of in and out with, you know, socializing and then tuning back in. And I was like, oh, I got to send a picture to Noelle to show her that I'm supporting the Bengals and watching this game. So I send a picture just of all the men lined up, and I go Joe. And then I don't know if it was you or I also sent it to Chris, our coworker, and he was like, that's the backup quarterback. Joe had a season-ending injury. it was Chris. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I knew that.
Yeah, but it's honestly fair because once they're in their uniform, they low-key kind of look alike. And Jake Brown, the backup, his number is 6 and Joe Burrow's is 9.
It's like if I had dyslexia that turns numbers upside down, you wouldn't even know.
Like their hair color is the same. I've actually had to like double check myself. I'm like, is that he's back? So I totally get it. But you know, he's very injury prone. Mm-hmm. He not only had that wrist ligament injury last season, but at the beginning of this season, during training camp, he got, there's a lot of photos of this, carted off for a calf strain.
Oh, baby boy.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked up his history, and like even starting into his LSU, maybe even OSU days, he's had a few injuries. But, you know, since he's joined the NFL, there have been plenty of injuries. So do whatever you got to do to rehab yourself, get it right, get it tight to get back on that field and stay on the field. And hopefully he has, you know, the support around him to keep him safe.
And talking about getting it right, getting it tight, and having support, what is this that he's maybe now single and back on the market?
Oh, the rumor mill. The rumor mill is wild.
And we believe it. I'm all in. I don't know what the sources are, but
yeah.
I want to live in a world where Joey B is back on the market. Perception is reality, and my current reality is Joe Burrow is looking for the Mrs. Burrow.
I'm torn because in my heart, I'm like, maybe not in my heart.
Producer Pete daggers at
I'm not ready. Hold on.
I think I'm not here.
Maybe not in my heart. Maybe not in my heart, but there's two worlds, right? Olivia Holzmacher is his previous or maybe current and just very quiet, hidden girlfriend.
We'll say previous.
Previous. Okay. Previous for this conversation. She has been a ride or die for him since 2017 when they met at Ohio State University. And they've been together ever since.
Can I just say, I think any girl with a brain cell would be a ride or die for a pro athlete.
I mean, especially him, that totally makes sense. So,
Yeah.
but still, nonetheless, she seems sweet, and I've been like stan their relationship.
Yeah.
But at
Sorry.
the other,
Love you, Olivia.
At the other side, I'm like, does this mean I have a chance?
Hopefully not. What? I have a question.
What?
Guy from the sideline. Where are these rumors coming from? Like, what do we know about the validity of said rumors?
Does
Oh,
Pete
wow.
hope they're false?
No, I'm not one.
So if we need to go to Cincinnati for research purposes, yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
He's a pretty elusive guy. I don't think you're gonna be able to get a hold of him.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If you slide into the DMs with whatever.
We won't be okay. First of all, that is off limits. I would never do that. But to answer your question, I think there's been a few news outlets that have just speculated, and I forget his name. He was a previous I don't have his name off the top of my head, but there was a rumor mill that was started maybe summertime of last year, and Pac-Man Jones. Pac-Man Jones, do you know who that is?
Yeah, he's a Bengal player.
Yes. Pac-Man Jones, somehow he was talking on a podcast and he was saying, he was talking candidly about Joe Burrow. And he's like, yeah, and he's engaged now. And he just kind of threw that in there. So all these rumors kind of started, a lot of articles about like pictures of his finger seeing if he has a ring on. And like, it kind of just started
engagement.
Oh yeah. Like would
Men?
you? Oh, I guess not. Or I'm sorry, her.
Oh, her. Okay.
Yes, her.
No, yeah, I won't have a ring until I'm married. I'm still single.
Sorry, rumors if she had a ring on her finger. And then kind of fast forward to in the past couple of months, Peter, I know you don't know this podcast, but it's called Du Moi. And it's essentially this girl who gets a lot of inbound, almost like rumors. And she'll speculate if it's, I guess someone that's well known or not, but they'll say like, hey, I got this plug that XYZ happened. And she's been talking about Joe Burrow a lot.
And she's usually pretty credible.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People trust and believe her.
Yes. And she's very well connected in the media and entertainment industry. So I have a quote here from her.
Should I slide into his ex-girlfriend?
That would be rude. Okay.
I'm just checking if you're single. So,
Oh, wait, is she hot?
Have you seen her?
No.
She's very
Safe
sweet
answer.
and cute. Yeah, thanks, babe.
You can do like a swap.
So here is one of the
Pete.
Joe, you get Burrow.
That's a fair swap. Anyways.
Is this going to turn into relationship therapy? Okay, I think that you're prettier than her.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think so too.
Oh, thanks, babe. Oh, okay. Okay, so let me tell you about the rumor that Dumois had posted about. It says Joe Burrow broke up with Olivia and is officially single. I went to Ohio State with the both of them, so I have a lot of mutual friends. Olivia has finally been telling people. Joe has also been hooking up with girls and asking them to sign NDAs. But the best part is he doesn't go up to them himself. He's way too shy and has his friends go up to them for him. That was...
can you sign on this dotted line and then you can come to our table and talk to Joe?
I guess so. That was the rumor on Dumois.
I guess that's smart because football players, when their names are just like in headlines, it's such a bad look. It's so distracting, especially someone with as much leadership and responsibility as quarterback.
Yeah.
Would you sign an NDA for Joe?
Yeah. If I was single. But I'm not, so we're not going to do that. He's my king. If I was single. Mm-hmm. Anyways. That's all I have to say about that.
But your current king is?
My current king is producer P.
Oh.
And he is the light of my life.
We were just talking about how we don't like the king word. We Prince.
Wait, so you guys don't like
no,
he's your sweet prince.
No, Pete doesn't like the word king. Like when they say oh, like happy or queen.
Wait, I love that. I love calling random.
No, I think like girl to girl, but like when it's a girl talking about a guy, like this is my king.
I would never in a million years call Ty king because especially publicly, that's strange. I'll call like my Uber driver king.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. He's talking about like relationship publicly. Like I'm going to post about it.
What do you guys feel about like if people in relationships have each other's names in their Instagram bio?
I don't live your life, but no. I don't have that.
I think most girls want guys to do it so that it's like
what?
Yeah, so they know like, hey girls, this guy's taken.
Yeah.
But I don't think no one's worried about me.
You don't have Noelle Hart in your bio.
And I'm getting, I haven't posted
not yet.
in 2 years.
No, I only bring it up because I've been stalking all of the Chargers' new like rookies on the team, and so there's one that they drafted as a wide receiver, and I went to his profile, and it has his like girlfriend's name with a heart in his profile, and I was just like, or in his bio, and I was like.
I wonder if that was a negotiated thing. Like she kind of pushed for that and he just loves her and he said, okay.
You know what's crazy is I know that I had been on his page before that because I've been stalking them since the draft. And I first noticed it like yesterday. And I was like, I wonder if he's getting attention. And he's a really good looking guy. So I wonder if this girl, I stalk them. They've been friends since 5th grade. They've been together since 2017. So they're endgame for sure. But I wonder if she was like, you need to let people know that I'm your girlfriend. And then she added his first and last name to her bio in case anyone was confused.
Oh, and they're not married?
They're not married. They're just dating. But
interesting. Okay,
I didn't like it one bit.
Yeah.
I thought that it puts your relationship's insecurities just out on display for the whole world.
Yeah. I agree. And I do feel like that's not the first time I've seen that with NFL players. Like if I'm looking at their partners, then like I feel like I've seen that before. So in that kind of world and that landscape and the type of attention that they're getting, I can see those kind of insecurities coming out like 100%. I mean,
it's valid. I just would hope that I was secure enough to not be like, hey babe, can you by chance put my first name in your Instagram bio and hope that will make a difference?
And like the @ so they can click on me and find me.
Oh no, that would make more sense because it's like a clickable feature. It's just the name. It'd be like Noelle Hart, Brooke Hart.
Oh,
no, like be for real.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I'm gonna show this to the camera, but I just added Noelle.
No,
stop. Embarrassing.
I was like, what are you doing? I thought you were gonna say you DM'd Olivia.
No.
Wait, you should DM Olivia with the Noelle Hart in your bio and see.
I got too much respect for Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, period.
I ain't like that, yo.
Oh, that's sweet.
Not respect for Noelle though. Where are the loyalties? My franchise QB or my girl?
I think that was a given.
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
it.
Okay, good.
It was for the other party.
What would be crazy is if you like, probably not Olivia. Well, not saying Olivia wouldn't respond to your DMs, but I'm assuming she has a lot of followers. Like someone who would see the DM.
Yeah.
If they would see that I got a DM from a guy that has another girl's name in the bio, would then she look, because Noelle's in your photos, and DM Noelle and be like, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
come get your mans.
I feel like there's probably girls that would do that. And honestly, you're like a savior for doing that just to,
Thanks, Olivia.
Yeah. But I don't know if she would.
No.
I feel like she's more like, I'm going to be private and I'm just going to like, I may see it, but I'm going to keep looking the other way.
Yeah, maybe she'll get
And
that, like
there's-
a heart.
Yeah.
I bet Joe just needs like a 6-month freedom lap.
They call that a hoe phase.
He's got all the cameras on him. He just needs like to have his hoe phase.
Yeah.
They're probably good together. They'll probably work out.
I don't know.
Well, do you guys think like it's better timing to be single in the off season or single during the NFL season? Because I could make an argument either way.
From the perspective of Joe?
Yeah, from the perspective of Joe.
Better in the off season.
No, I don't think so.
I think the off season is kind of when you would want to be like, you have more time at home, you have time to like be with family, and then the NFL season you're traveling. But I think some teams might be strict about like if you're allowed to party and like see girls and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I see both ways.
I think you have more opportunity to hoe out during the season.
I don't know if you do.
Exactly.
I see.
Playing the Rams.
I see, but do you think that
To the Ohio.
Yeah. Upgrade.
do you think that he's like in that mindset? Here's the thing. I think that every football player, when it's regular season, playoffs, Super Bowl, when it's time to play football, they don't care about anything else. That's
No.
my perspective.
I disagree because
For
men
someone
are
like
men.
Joe, yeah, I guess.
Men are men. I think that they care about football so much, but like they win a big game, they're feeling on top of the world. They're going to go out for some drinks to the club. They don't have another game for a whole week.
Yeah. Do you think that Joe is partying with the Bengals after a win?
Yes. Not when he's in a relationship, but if he's single, yes.
Okay.
Because if he's in a relationship, he's going to go call Olivia in the hotel room and he's going to wish he was out there with his boys and be like, I'm wasting my prime.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is like kind of anti-woman of us. I just want people to be able to appreciate their youth because I just celebrated birthday. And I'm like, hey, make sure that you just
Celebrate it.
live it up while you can. You have the
Live
opportunity.
your life.
Speaking of all this like kind of like single and like icky stuff, I also this week unlocked a new football ick, and I'm curious to get both of your guys' thoughts on this.
Let us hear it.
This also, I realized it first during the draft, and I'll paint a scenario for you. So say it's the Chargers. I'll use the same guy as an example. And the Chargers draft a wide receiver, and they post about it, and people in the comments go, Justin Herbert just got a new toy. About the wide receiver, and I am repulsed by this dialogue. Like, ew.
I get it. I mean, I've definitely heard weapon. I don't know if I've heard toy as much, but those are not like QB and toy should not be in the same sentence.
Grown men and new toys.
Yes.
Don't talk to me.
Exactly.
It is
That's interesting.
It's the weirdest thing. And I kept seeing it like, oh, Justin Herbert's got some new toys. Like, ew, stop it. Like, I will block each and every one of you.
Toys are for kids.
Like, actually, shut up. Yeah. And it's, weapons is fine because I think weapons is funny.
Yeah, you think of like macho men and just like, oh, they're men and they have weapons and
Yeah.
they are going to war together.
You know what I think when I hear like got a new weapon is Love Island Australia. They'll always talk about like themselves as hot people being weapons. Like, I'm a 10 out of 10 absolute weapon. And I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah,
And
I like that too.
that appropriate use of weapon. Talking about war, appropriate use of weapon. Justin Herbert got a new weapon. Shut the fuck up.
No.
That's my stance.
Yeah.
Hand to God.
Adult and toys not in the same sentence, especially when we're talking about professional football players.
Have some respect for yourselves.
Put some respect on their names.
So I'm just like really, really icked out.
Okay.
By that.
I love that ick.
Thank you.
And especially since we've been hearing a lot about the draft, like those words have been coming out even more.
Oh, they're out. Trust
They're
me.
out.
And I'm seeing all of it. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's full body uncomfortable about that.
That's fair. If you don't mind, I'd share a football ick as well.
I couldn't mind less.
Okay. So let's say we're watching a game.
Oh, okay.
We're watching
Lovely.
a game and Joe Burrow's on the field. Since we're in the spirit of Joe Burrow,
He's just can't get out of our
fully
heads.
healthy.
Okay.
And he's set up on the line of scrimmage. He's about to hike the ball, which essentially means he's going to throw the football behind him, or the center is going to throw the football behind him. Anyways, he has the football and he's about to hike the ball. And typically, whenever I've seen QBs do this, whenever they're about to say hike and throw it to a wide receiver or someone on their team, they always lift up their leg, like tap it behind them.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I've always thought that they were picking a wedgie. I'm like, man, why does every quarterback have a wedgie to pick? This is crazy.
Those tight pants are revealing too much.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I looked it up. I'm like, literally, why do QBs
Did you
lift their
Google
leg?
wedgie quarterback kicks?
I just said, why do QBs lift their leg before the snap? And I think it's just a way for them to like signal to either their center or people on the team. So it's just a way for them to like communicate without actually speaking. And it's boring,
Ew,
whatever.
Men don't deserve non-verbal communication tactics. Just use your words. Someone else.
Basically, football players are just a bunch of kids. They have toys. They stomp their little feet.
No, and I'm
kidding.
Now that you bring it up and I think about it, whenever I watch that, it reminds me of when I used to pretend to be a horse at school when I was in elementary school, and we would play horses at recess.
So you were a horse girl.
No, I mean, we can unpack this on a later episode. Big time horse girl over here.
Same.
I think I was literally brought to the doctor's office because I wouldn't stop acting like a horse. I love that.
So you acted like the horse, not like to ride horses.
I rode horses as well, but
Okay, I love
the
that.
primary problem was that I identified as a horse. I think like little kid being into equestrian, fun, cute, iconic. Girl pretending she is stomping around, neighing at recess.
Did you get on all
Needs
fours
attention.
though to do the trot like the
I
horse girl on
won't
the
confirm
internet?
or deny that happened.
Okay, we'll leave it a mystery and
We'll leave it a
save it for
mystery.
another episode.
We'll do a deep dive on the horse girls.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that's great. Pete, do you have a football ick?
I don't. I'm literally on ChatGPT. What is a football?
Okay.
What?
Understand what it is, but I also like the things that annoy me are not I think what you're looking for. Like, too many commercials. Like during officiating when they're doing replays and stuff. It's like, hey, let's have the camera. You see what happened. Like
That's
like an annoyance.
that's like
it's an inconvenience.
common theme.
Why
Yeah.
don't boys know what icks are?
I don't know.
I'll take I'll keep an eye out this year.
It's like a inconvenient or non-traditional thing that annoys you that wouldn't annoy everybody.
Like if you just see it, you physically get like, ugh, like I'm embarrassed for that person, or I'm grossed out, or like I'm no longer sexually attracted to them.
I'm not sexually.
Maybe that's why it
the
doesn't
problem.
work.
I'll stick with.
I'm literally crying.
Okay.
Okay, no worries.
That's fair. All right, then we'll move on from football icks, but I feel like those are great ones.
Yeah,
Definitely agree.
that felt good to get out.
Yeah, it did.
That's been weighing on my heart for quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, football icks, can't wait for them to happen during regular season. I know
Oh
we're
my
a few
God.
months away, but
We should post them on our story.
I'm sure there'll be more that will come up live too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could make it a segment. Or we could ask the fumblers if you guys have any football icks,
Yeah.
just icks about grown men in general. We're always down to hear it.
Yeah. And again, we're still a few months away, but in this period of off season, the players, they've been playing and they've been
Ooh.
out and about.
They've been having fun.
They have really been having a lot of fun. So many activities in May and in April. Spring has sprung and the stars are out. in just the past week, there's been F1, there's been the Derby, the Met Gala, like so many exciting events, and all of the NFL socialites have been there. Speaking of F1, tons of athletes were there. I don't know a ton about F1, but I know it's just such like a luxurious sport that I feel like a lot of people,
rich.
it's drawing a lot more eyes and attention on, even for girls. Like I have some friends that after the Netflix special that I forgot what it's called, but one of the F1 shows on Netflix kind of has been drawing a lot of like of that casual fan. So it is great to see some of the players just like enjoying their time in the off season, getting to enjoy some of these like luxurious, I don't even know if you'd call them cabanas, but I've seen a TikTok of a girl and she was like, here are the prices at F1. And it was like nachos for $160.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But it was probably like the partner cabanas that you get invited to, you know, like for the ritzy and for the rich.
But like the nachos themselves.
Yeah, I do think it was feeds a party of 6. Like it fed multiple people from what I read in the comments. I can't confirm or deny. I've never been.
Okay.
But
that's still too much.
Yeah. And that was the cheapest thing on the menu. She
Like
showed like a scan of it.
$25 a person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
That's
Better be some gourmet nachos with some caviar.
A lot of toppings. Yeah, some caviar on the nachos.
It was crazy, but just to name a few of the NFL socialites that were there, of course, our man Joe Burrow, Nick Bosa, his butt buddy. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, was Joe Burrow with anyone there?
Nick Bosa, and then if you know the comedian
No women.
Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have a picture together. I think someone else is in the photo, but I don't recall off the top of my head who it was. They were together. Saquon, OBJ was there. T. Higgins, who also plays with Joe Burrow on the Bengals. Braxton, and I don't think Alex Earl was there because she was at the Derby.
Oh, a house divided over the weekend.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to go to Bros weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch some cars go vroom, vroom.
Yeah,
That's probably what he said.
exactly. And of course, the Chiefs royalty, the Mahomes and Travis Kelce were in attendance.
That is crazy. Those are some of the biggest names in terms of socialites of the NFL.
Yeah.
And I like the concept of them getting to be like observers of another sport.
Yeah,
And just
totally.
get to be there and have fun and cheer for somebody and watch a track, a field that's not them. I think that's a nice concept.
It's so fun. And
love
I
it.
mean, of all places in Miami, what
So
more
fun.
can you ask for?
I wonder if they had an after party at Braxton's house.
Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe
But that would be fun.
OBJ was out there shopping for a new place.
Yeah. OBJ, he's been busy, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Now, making our way up the East Coast a little bit into Kentucky, the Derby also happened.
Love.
And there were some socialites there too. Alex Earl, as we mentioned, a house divided. Travis Kelce, I think he had a very busy weekend. I don't know what the order of events were, but he was at both F1 and at the Derby. Crazy.
Wait, where was the Derby?
Kentucky.
Oh, you said that.
Yes.
So those states are nearby.
They're maybe like a 2-hour flight.
So you can make it.
Yeah,
Do you
you
think
can
he
make
took
it.
Taylor's jet?
I think he took his own jet.
He doesn't have one of those.
He rented one for the day.
No, that's embarrassing. Wait, did you see I don't know if this is a fake or real Instagram, complete side note. I saw on Instagram they released like Taylor Swift's jet records for you see that?
Yeah.
But it looks like there's definitely 2 planes and there was a lot going to Kansas City. So it seemed like Travis was up in there.
No
and also
way
she was in
he's
Kansas
using
City.
her jet.
He doesn't have his own. She doesn't want her man flying commercial.
But what if she's going to see him?
But they each have their own jet. I feel like it's chill.
So he does have a
Well, like she has 2, one like a his and hers, but she owns them both.
way. I
Yeah.
didn't know that they
Like
she had two.
WWYD, if you are on a Delta plane and you just see Travis Kelce like asking for an extra bag of peanuts, like
Yeah.
she can't have that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know if he's on her jet, but he's on a jet for sure.
I
We'll
would
say she's on it.
I would
He's
bet
on her
money
jet.
that he's on her jet.
I love that.
Yeah.
So he's using it. He was up in Kentucky. He was actually talking about it with his brother Jason on the New Heights podcast.
Cuties.
And Jason didn't go this year, but he talks about the previous years that he's gone. And it's something that a lot of college kids in the surrounding areas go to often. And obviously they went to University of Cincinnati. Peter also is a fellow Bearcat. And I figured we can have Pete kind of share a little bit of background of how the environment is there. I will preface this by saying that, you know, Travis Kelce has climbed the ladder in terms of status nowadays. So there's, you know, the stands and then there's the infield. And Pete has been there. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Hello. He's ready.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, Cincinnati and Kentucky are basically right on. A river divides them. So the Kentucky Derby's, let's call it 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. So what most people do from Cincy is you literally rent like a big school bus. And you pack like 50 fraternity brothers or 50 friends, and you by the time you get there, you're pretty sloshed.
2 hours on a bus.
So like
Sounds fun.
In the Kentucky Derby, it's like very bougie, high class. You know, people are wearing nice blazers and all that stuff. And then you have the infield, which is actually inside of the track, right? And I mean, it's like it depends on where you go within the infield, but there's parts that are chill, and you know, there's bars, and you can have like a normal experience. But if you get to the let's call it the cut. Like it's wild. I mean, you get every type of Kentuckian you could imagine. Like I always share this story, but every year we went. I've been 5 times. There's
Humble brag.
Of the day where like all the porta potties are set up like this, right? Like in a line, and people will run across the top and
No.
beers, and you throw them. YouTube it. We'll put something up on the podcast.
I'm repulsed.
It's like people get very, very drunk, like rowdy drunk. Like some people don't make it back on the bus. It's like a whole thing.
Left in Kentucky.
One of your friends is gonna cry or lose their phone.
Oh yeah, it's one of those days.
But it's, you know, and you never see an actual horse, which is kind of hilarious.
But you're
That's
inside the track and the horses run around it.
Yeah.
You don't
You're
peer
in the
over
infield.
to the right.
Like, I don't like underground.
Never seen one horse. Not a horse girl.
Not a horse girl.
I've been 2 or 3 times before I realized that the horses were running around us.
Where did you think you were?
I had Jameson.
Oh my gosh.
Mint juleps actually is the.
Mint
Yeah.
juleps.
Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it was something we looked forward to every year. You know, and if you know you were in a fraternity at the University of Cincinnati, it's like something every fraternity did. But
Can I ask, like, as an outsider who has no context, who's never even stepped foot in the state of Kentucky, I always viewed it as like a very like highbrow, like high class event. Is that just not? Yeah, is that incorrect?
But I thought you were talking about Kentucky.
No. Oh no. I'm not trying to make a statement on the whole state.
Yeah,
just
you know, it's
the
like,
the event.
You watch, wait, what's that show we watched with the kids for Treasure?
I don't
Dragon
remember.
Tales?
Outer Banks. Right?
Oh.
You got the Pogues, and who's the other one?
Why did I say Dragon Tales? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, of
There's
course.
Kooks and Pogues.
Yeah.
And I think who are the rich ones?
The Cougs.
Okay, so
I don't think
kind of
that's
what
the
it's
right
like.
word.
You got like the rich people, and then you've got the Pogues. We're the Pogues. So it is. It's very like if you don't have an inside ticket, like you ain't getting inside,
Yeah,
right? They want to keep you in the infield.
it's separated
But yeah, no,
for a
like, a lot
reason.
of celebrities go, limousines out front. You know, it's also a big gambling thing, right? So imagine like
Yeah.
big time money people that want to put a lot of money on horse betting. Like they'll go. I'm sure Portnoy is the kind of guy that this would be perfect for.
I was just gonna
Totally.
Google how
He
much
was
he
there.
bet.
I know it was a lot, and I think I saw Alex ask him for like $10,000, and I guess you can only bet with cash there.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know
trying
if
to
that's
see.
true, but that was a video I saw.
It's a lot of fun though.
Yeah, no, and I don't know if you guys have seen the photos. I'm sure you have, but the Derby is just full of crazy fashion. Like they wear the big Derby hats, and it's quite a spectacle. It looks like a really fun time. As much as I would say I'd want to go, at the same time, I don't support the treatment of horses in that way because I've read some horror stories. I don't know if they're rumors, but I don't have the heart to support that.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, sure. No,
It's just fake.
I'm just kidding.
No, I feel the same way.
No, my
If you don't see the
heart would
horses,
weigh
you're
on
not
that.
Supporting it. That's my opinion.
But you're giving your money to get into the
You're
event
betting
that
on them.
promotes it.
For the party.
It's all going to the same place, I think.
Yeah.
No, as horse girls, we're pro positive treatment of horses.
100%. Yeah. The trainers are probably really tough on them. But to wrap up the Derby, some other big players there: Aaron Rodgers, Isaiah Pacheco, who was a rookie last year on the Chiefs and had a really good season. So very star-studded event, and it made for some good content after the weekend.
We love it. And then another event, of course, was the Met Gala that happened on Monday night. And, we were curious to see like what NFL stars would show up this year. So we had Stephon Diggs, who is now on the Houston Texans. Crazy jump scare. He was in a gorgeous, gorgeous, sparkling suit. It was giving like vampire vibes because he was just shimmering.
Yeah.
It was H&M.
Oh,
What do we want to say about that? I'm surprised.
was that like a paid sponsorship? Like, did H&M pay him and say, "Hey, can you wear this tux or this suit on the red carpet just to show people that at an affordable price, you too can look like a star"?
I have no idea, but like he obviously has so much money. But does H&M have like a high-end designer line as well?
I don't think so, but I have seen, I don't know if it's H&M specifically, but I've seen things like ASOS, like they've done collabs with, a brand or a designer, and it might be a little bit more of a premium price.
Yeah, like an H&M Plus.
Maybe he's doing a collab with H&M.
Maybe he's a part owner of H&M.
Maybe.
Probably not. I was surprised by that brand name. It wasn't one that I expected to be in the Met Gala, but that could also be because I have no idea that maybe they do high-end stuff. Maybe they paid him. Either way, he looked like $1 million, and maybe something that was fast fashion that cost $20.
Yeah, he looked great though.
I mean, he looked stunning.
I feel like he has been seen a lot on a lot of like runways, fashion weeks. Like he is one of the athletes that is in the know with all the designers. So good for him.
No, good for him. He was there last year too. So he scored that recurring invite.
There we go.
The other NFL player that was at the Met Gala was, of course, Odell Beckham Jr., who was, playing on the Ravens and is now most recently been traded or signed with the Dolphins.
I think he was signed because his contract with the Ravens was only a year.
Oh, okay. Free agent king. So he's now moving to Miami, and he is quite the socialite. As you mentioned, he was at F1 and he was at the Met Gala this year. He was also there, and I want to say 2021, and they didn't do it 2020, but 2019 as well. And I'm like, what? Who does he know?
Yeah. Who's your agent?
Yeah. Who's getting you hooked up with these invites? Because the Met Gala is not necessarily a place that's always like popping with NFL stars. So there's usually just like maybe like 1, 2, 3 that go every year. And
That's true. Actually, I don't know if this is true, but I do think that you have to pay like $75K to get into the Met Gala, or maybe
that
just
makes
to get an
sense.
invite.
because I think it's raising money for museums.
Yes.
So who better than the rich?
And he is.
And he's got that bag.
Let's hope so.
He was wearing kind of like, I don't know what the designer was on his outfit, but it was like a floral embroidered situation.
Yeah.
Which from afar, it looked like it could have been from H&M as well. But when you got a little closer, I think I was like, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah. The design was good. It had some nice like embellishments, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And looking back on all the years that he's been there, you would think that he would just have a little bit more like fun and playfulness, because I feel like he wore a tux every single time.
No, wait, I just had the picture.
Except for 1 year. Maybe there was 1 year where he had that green outfit.
No, this was like probably his most tame year with his little embroidered embellishments. In 2022, he had that like green outfit on that had the hood.
Yeah.
So like what does that remind me of? It was giving kind of just like on the traders on Peacock, like he looked like he was dressing as a trader with a cloak over his head, but it was just green. And then in 2019, he sported a little skirt. So he had like a vest that would go under a suit.
Yeah.
And then as if he was, what are the Scottish people?
A kilt?
He was wearing like a kilt, but all black.
And I mean, I think that's playful enough, but I think I'm used to seeing Met Gala where it's like very dramatic. So I guess in his terms,
Fair
that
enough.
was dramatic enough, especially as a football player where you're the masculine, you're the man, and like that's already not in your element. So I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did well. I think he likes going, obviously, because he's willing to keep going
He loves
every
it.
year.
He loves to be in the scene.
And I love that for him. Okay. And then the event that everyone is talking about that is very, very prominent in football is, of course, the Tom Brady roast.
The Groat.
The groat.
The Groast.
The greatest roast of all time. So this happened on Sunday, May 5th. It was obviously a Netflix event. I think it was at the Kia Forum, so local to LA. This was a huge event, and a lot of people are actually saying this is the event that saved comedy, which is crazy because I think you were saying earlier it was like the intersection of football and comedy. So I don't know if anyone knew that it was going to be doing something so big, but it was definitely an event that everyone has been talking about this week. So to kind of set the scene, of course, we're at the Kia Forum. They made that girl look gorgeous.
Yeah.
People were like commenting during their sets of like, oh, we're at the beautiful Kia Forum. I'm like, I don't know if anyone's ever described it that way.
I think they were being sarcastic.
Oh.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're
But it looked beautiful, so I thought they were serious.
Really nice. Like the stage looked amazing.
No, you're right. They're probably joking. And I was like, have you guys even been here for like, when there's no stands? Anyways, so there was a lot of people there. It was a mix of Tom Brady's ex-teammates from the Patriots as well as, professional roasters and comedians. We also had some surprise guests. So it was hosted by Kevin Hart, some of the big comedians that were there, Nikki Glaser, Tony Hinchcliffe, Sam Jay, Burt Kreischer, Jeff Ross, Tom Segura, Andrew Schultz. And then some of the athletes, we had Drew Bledsoe, of course, Julian Edelman, who is great friends with Tom Brady. We have Gronk, and then Randy Moss, Matt Light. And then surprise guests, Ben Affleck. We'll talk about his set. That one was weird. Of course, coach of the Patriots. Oh, ex-coach. Currently unemployed.
Yep.
LinkedIn page says looking for new jobs. Bill Belichick. Robert Kraft was in the audience. And we also had Kim Kardashian, who I heard none of the roasters knew she was going to be there until they actually saw her there. So they didn't have an opportunity to write any of the jokes into their set except for the one that Tom had. He was the only one that knew. But apparently the sources are saying that people just thought that they would just attack her. And so no one said that she was going.
Wow.
Side note on her. And then Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy, which give it a rest, big guy. But that was quite a bit. So yeah, Kevin Hart, I thought was a phenomenal host. I thought he was hilarious. That's such a hard job to do. He was on stage in between every person who went, and it was a 3-hour roast. And he was so funny and so likable, and was just seen like laughing and getting up and like just shouting and like having the best time during the entire thing. And I thought there was no one better that could have done that.
I think so. And especially knowing that the Tom Brady roast was 3 hours long, like he was very present with everything. And even if there was these in between moments, I saw him pick up the mic and kind of like encourage people to continue on or like talk to people in the audience. So he was like the perfect medium to keep the show going. And I thought he did amazing. And I know that we're going to get to Nikki Glaser in a minute, but in one of her interviews, she talks about how Kevin is a giver, and she had to stop multiple times during her set because, she would have to pause for a moment and see him just like getting up and like clapping because he thought that a joke was so good, and he wants people to know that it landed and that like to give them their their praise in the moment. So he did an incredible job and always delivers.
I loved him, and one could say that I kind of hung out with Kevin Hart last night.
Oh. Yeah, you
And
did.
one could also say that I was posted on Kevin Hart's story last night on
You
Instagram.
sure were.
And by that, I mean that they reposted my story. And by that, I mean I reposted a story at his restaurant. And it wasn't Kevin Hart, but it was a cardboard cutout of him. But we were together. And I was at his restaurant, Heart House in LA. It was very delicious if you guys haven't checked it out. But I just felt close to Kevin. And
100%.
I felt like he knew I was there.
He did. I mean, the cutout was there. So, and he's walked on those same steps that you walked in and out to go pick up your food on. So.
Absolutely. And me and the cutout were like making eyes at each other. Like I kept wanting to greet it, and I kept thinking it was a real person. I was like, wait, is he looking at me? And I was like, Kevin, please, you're embarrassing me.
Please stop. Just text me, okay?
No, literally. So I won't say anything else about that, but I just thought that was kind of special that like, he was so busy, but he took time out of his like, fame from hosting the roast and everything else, of course, that he's done to just hang out with the fans.
I'm so happy that you were prioritized in his life.
And I feel prioritized, which is important. So getting into the roast, obviously Kevin Hart kicked us off, and the first comedian that we had hit the stage was Jeff Ross. I feel like he's known for roasting. He's known for being pretty savage. So he was the natural person to get us started on the Tom Brady roast.
Yes, and people say that's his only job is being the roast
Really?
master. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I mean,
so
I guess
funny.
he goes on tour and stuff, but like no one sees him in movies. And I think it was said maybe like once or twice throughout the special. But if you look back on any of the roasts, he's on all of them.
That is so funny. So has he just always been a comedian, or was he an actor? Like, do we know the vibe?
I think he's definitely a comedian.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. I don't know how much acting he does, but he might made a few cameos here and there in movies.
He's a showman.
Yeah, he's a comedian first. Let's say roast master first.
Roast master is the job title. But his set was great. I think the big moment that everyone is going to remember, though, is when he starts making a joke about Robert Kraft and massages and happy endings. This is the first act, right? And we see Tom Brady get out of his seat and try to whisper in his ear, but we could all hear it because everyone's mic'd up. And he basically said, like, cut that shit out, no more of that shit.
Yeah.
And Jeff Ross was like, okay, and like kind of continued on with the set. Didn't miss a beat, which I was impressed at, because if I was in the middle of a presentation at work and someone pinged me and said, please stop saying that, I would
Throw
be
me off.
fighting tears and probably fake my internet not working, even if we were in person, and I would just not be able to continue. So hated that, but also props that he didn't let it get him down.
Totally. I mean, that's the life of being a comedian, right? Like you kind of have to see what the crowd is going to give you. And obviously Tom Brady is telling you not to crack a joke. And he literally just said, okay. And then he just kept going. Like didn't even blink an eye.
Yeah.
It was wild.
But what was crazy about that too is when that moment happened and I was watching, I was like, holy shit. Like, I wonder if they got any sort of like no fly list where you can't make jokes about this. This is off limits. Don't touch this. Cause Tom was pretty quick to get up and say, stop that. And it did come out. Andrew Schultz on his podcast this week said there was only one topic we were told to stay away from. And it was specifically anything about Robert Kraft and these massages. And the fact that Jeff Ross is the first comedian to go and he immediately tells a joke about that and says, hey, fuck these rules, I'm going to go for it anyways. Savage, rude, scary to Tom Brady, thinking like, wait, what do you think he was panicking, being like, oh no, what did I do? This is the first set and they've already turned against me.
Yeah. I mean, he was such a good sport throughout it, but for that to be the first thing that happens, I would probably be freaking out, right? And I think that there was, like just some stories about Tom Brady and his mindset kind of leading up to the roast. And he definitely had that look of like, shit, what the hell am I doing? And what is this going to do for me and for my family? So I totally get that. I'm sure that he was shaking in his boots a little bit.
No, absolutely. So that was wild. And what shocked me also, just more than the fact that that was on the no-fly list and got like just completely ignored, was the fact that his own children weren't listed on the "you cannot joke about these guys."
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
we all know, even if you're not a big football fan, you've seen the video of Tom Brady kissing his children. And that is like just the easiest punchline for any comedian. But the comedians themselves were like, hey, let's not talk about his kids, even though this is so easy. We could make fun of this all night. This man literally lingering long, slow kisses his children. And I thought it was the right move that the comedians didn't talk about that, because that is just messed up. And that's way too big of a stage to be bringing his kids into it.
Yeah, that was a good move on their part, because I can only imagine being one of Tom Brady's kids and growing up and kind of getting a better sense of awareness of what people are saying about me and my dad. And then for that video to be surfacing and to like get a little bit more understanding of why people are bringing it up and thinking like knowing that might be a little weird for any parent and child relationship.
Yeah.
Publicly it was on a documentary, right? The video.
Yeah, we rewatched the video in preparation for the podcast today of Tom Brady and his child kissing. So to set the scene for you guys, if you don't recall, Tom is being filmed getting a massage, like laying upright in his massage bed in his home, and his little son walks in and is like, hey, can I check my fantasy team, or something about his fantasy team?
Yeah.
And what does Tom say?
He says, what?
For me.
Exactly. And then the kid immediately gives him a little kiss. And then what does he say after that?
That I don't know.
What did he say?
I think he says,
is that all?
something like that. Like, and then the kid gives him a longer kiss.
Yeah. Is that it? Something like that.
Yeah, like that was insinuating that the kid did not give him a good enough kiss. And so that was included in a documentary, and is just one of the most bizarre things that many people have seen. But also I think that kid, or at least his oldest kid, is 14. So definitely old enough to know that people are making fun of that video. And I'm sure still gets referenced in his world. And yeah. I do really feel bad for these kids, because, no matter what, whether they were mentioned or not, your dad being roasted for all these things. And like, we'll get into it, but like all the jokes about it, like, Giselle, and I guess the oldest kid was from Bridget, not Giselle, but still same family. And you're just old. You're old enough to know that it's not something that you want to be made fun of for.
It's hard. And I mean, I'm definitely not a Nepo baby, but they are. They're going to have to deal with the punches. Yeah. And I think Tom Brady got a lot of punches, a lot of reoccurring punches of jokes.
Yeah.
The Giselle and the divorce of it all was definitely at the forefront. That's also like just low hanging fruit as a comedian. Like, obviously that's a little fresh for their relationship. He's newly single. So it's easy to tackle that one. That one was a given, and I had a feeling that was going to be in almost every single comedian's set, which it seems like it was. And taking that a step further, knowing Giselle may have what seems to be a relationship with her jiu-jitsu coach. A lot of jokes about that. And again, that one's a little bit easy because the photos in the tabloids, it's all over the internet.
It writes itself.
Yeah, it really does. Those were easy jokes there. And then speaking of Giselle, there were some conversations or some rumors back in the day of a previous teammate of his, Antonio Brown. There's a very cozy picture of him and Giselle together. So there was some rumors circulating around that. So that was brought up too. So I wonder, I haven't seen exactly what Giselle's like POV was after the roast.
Oh, she's pissed.
Is she? Yeah, I didn't look into that.
She's definitely pissed. I think she's come out and said that. And while I was watching, I guess like in the back of my mind, I figured that she had given some sort of sign off, because even though they're divorced, they're still co-parenting. Right. You still have the kid's best interest at heart. And I would have assumed that she would have said like, this is fine. But I think she was like, did not want him to do it at all.
Yeah.
Which makes it even crazier that he did it.
Yeah. No, I definitely would have thought that they would have a conversation at least.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's going to be probably the brunt end of most of those jokes, which she was. So she is taking it like a champ. Some other key players within the brunt end of the jokes was Gronk. So I guess the internet and everybody in the world thinks that Gronk is just that stereotypical dumb jock. And there were tons of jokes about that and how he's basically a little baby and all of that. So I kind of felt bad, but I think he did a really good job of kind of playing into that character once he went on stage. So I think he did a really good job on that piece. But we'll talk about some of the other jokes, but should we talk about who won the night?
Oh my God. Yes. I feel like it was very unanimous. Everyone that I've talked to, all the news outlets, what was trending online, Nikki Glaser absolutely killed it.
Crushed it.
I've loved Nikki Glaser for a long time. She's been a comedian forever. She's the host of F-Boy Island. Like, she is just so funny. And I was so happy with how she did. I know she's been on a complete press tour after this, which I think is so smart to have all these interviews lined up, just knowing that she would kill it. She was prepping for it so much. She's been on Howard Stern. She was on The Toast this week with Claudia. She was on Jimmy Kimmel, Pat McAfee's show.
Yeah.
I feel like I see multiple new interviews with her every single day of, the reaction to the set, what jokes that she had to cut out just because her set was too long or would take too long to build up. And it is just so clear, like, her craft is taken so seriously. She spent months and months getting to know Tom Brady, what people's perceptions were of him, what people were saying about him, the type of person he was, and just really crafting her jokes in a like almost like scientific way that was like guaranteed to be a big hit. And she absolutely killed it. I was laughing the entire time. And she looked amazing. My God.
Yeah.
Gorgeous hair, outfit, stunning. Everything was a hit.
Yeah. She was a 10 out of 10. I say 11, 20 out of 10. Like, she crushed it. And even the reaction after Kevin Hart, he goes back on stage to introduce the next comedian. You can tell that he took a moment to really applaud her, and he was like, I don't know if the live audience can see, but we have a standing ovation right now at Kia Forum, and he really like gave his flowers to her in that moment. And everything from top to bottom was good. The timing, like, it couldn't have been better. And something else that she mentioned on one of the interviews that she did, this one was with Rich Eisen. By the way, she's doing a lot of press within the sports realm, so I do think she's probably getting a lot more like mail and a little bit more like sports fans, which is great because I think people who are fans of comedy or girls or people who watch Fuckboy Island, like, they all know who she is. But I love that she's getting probably some new fans, and she was saying there, kind of leading up to the roast, she's been preparing a lot, but even leading up all the way until the minutes before the show, she was changing things around every single minute until the show went live. But leading up maybe 2 weeks beforehand, she's going out to all of the different like clubs, not the clubs, but like the comedy clubs in Hollywood to test out different jokes. And she would announce to the audience and be like, I'm going to do the Tom Brady roast soon. Do you guys want to be my focus group? And it would get the crowd really excited and like very into the jokes. And she kind of pressure tested how they would do within the crowd. And I thought that was really cool because Pete and we saw her literally like 3 weeks ago. She didn't do any of the jokes then, but we have access to a lot of comedians, which is really exciting. So it's cool to see like kind of the process behind it all before the show.
Yeah, cool. She worked so hard on it. And when I was listening to The Toast today, Claudia, of course, as every other interviewer was asking about the jokes that had to be cut out. And she was explaining how she had these jokes that she really, really liked, but didn't make it. And the reason for that was they required too much setup. And so she was explaining how when you're a comedian and you're trying to set up a really good roast or just any good set, you have to understand like what the end goal and statement of your your joke is, and you have to make sure that your audience is aligned with that. So she was talking about a specific joke she wanted to make about, Tom Brady and his crazy diet, and she wanted to say that Tom Brady's fridge was as empty as like Kevin Hart's soul. And so she was like, I couldn't say that because people don't know that my perception of Kevin Hart is that, like, he's soulless. He says yes to everything. He sold his soul to Hollywood. And so she was like, so I started writing and I tried to set that up and explain it to the audience. And she was like, it took like 40 seconds to basically get from, ground zero to the audience understands what I'm saying about Kevin Hart and doing that roast and then delivering it, that she was like, it just was too long that I had to cut that out. So I also found that really smart and interesting.
Yeah.
Just like a way to think about how these professionals, make up their sets, and kind of the thought process that goes in is just not like this joke hits this like one after another. Like you really have to understand like their methodology behind it. So I just think she's so brilliant, and that really just showed on the roast. She stood out above everyone.
Yeah. I mean, that truly takes courage, craft, skills. I mean, to be able to think on your feet like that. I know that there's a lot of prep work, but like if I were to write jokes leading up to a show, I would completely go blank. There's no way I would remember what I just wrote down unless I'm reading it from
Well, they
from
probably
my
had like a
paper.
teleprompter, or maybe the comedians
true.
didn't, but the athletes did, because I think all the jokes were written for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But still, the way that they're able to like kind of just adjust in that way, it's art. Good for them. She crushed it.
I love it. She has her special coming out on Saturday, or if you guys are listening on Wednesday, it just came out over the weekend on HBO. Someday You'll Die. Promoted for free. You're welcome, Nikki. I really can't wait to watch. But no, she did great. The last thing I'll say is like, I was listening to her podcast earlier today too, and it was like her boyfriend. I've never listened to her podcast before, so this is just showing like she's, even though I'm a current fan, I'm now like a diehard. And they were just saying how like, she was like #1 trending worldwide on Twitter. She's gained almost like 200,000 new followers
Good
on
for
Instagram.
her.
I know she's really
That's
getting her
amazing.
flowers over it. And she was like, I feel like Taylor Swift.
She should. She's having her Taylor Swift moment.
Yeah.
And she does have a boyfriend for real.
She has, a boyfriend of 10 years.
Okay. So that wasn't a lie. when
No,
she was
that
talking
was
about it
that
on
was
the
my
roast.
favorite joke of the whole roast.
I will shoot you in the head
For
to
a
get
lottery
a
ticket to suck Tom Brady's dick. I was
That was
obsessed with that.
Yeah.
She's so
really
good. I love it. Pete, do you have any roast comments on any of it so far?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on.
I agree. Nikki Glaser was awesome, and we saw her, like Noelle said, and
We were looking forward to her out of
Where'd
everybody.
you guys see her?
At Hollywood Improv, yeah. Yeah. At the same time of Dane Cook and a few others, but they were probably the most popular.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was the one you were telling me about.
Yeah.
So fun.
It was good.
no, it was great. Noelle and I watched the whole thing. It was like watching the Titanic. It was 3.5 hours. I can't believe we watched the entire thing cover to cover.
I didn't look at my phone once.
Oh, that's impressive.
That's not true.
No, that is true.
I believe her.
Less than you normally do. I'll give you that.
I didn't look at my phone. Maybe towards the end, 'cause I'm like, man, this is really long, and I looked at the time.
No, 3 hours. Did you watch it live?
No, we watched it the day it happened. I think
It was like a few hours. Yeah, it was a few hours after, like later in the day.
Back to the roast. Do we want to get into some of the other roasters?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So
Do we want to talk about? We can start with Drew Bledsoe.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So to give you some context of Drew Bledsoe, he was the starting quarterback for the Patriots back in the day. He got a season-ending injury, and none other than Tom Brady came in. He was a backup quarterback at this time on the Patriots, and he filled in for Drew Bledsoe for the remainder of the year. But the twist is Drew Bledsoe never stepped back on that field after Tom Brady came on.
After spending like a week in the hospital.
So Drew Bledsoe had some words to say about his replacement, the 199th draft pick. Tom Brady.
Crazy.
So he did have some subtle jabs of like, oh, this stage reminds me of what it felt like to be drafted number 1. And that's something that Tom Brady will never have. But like, hey, let's give Joe Bledsoe, let's give him that. Maybe he didn't win a Super Bowl on the Patriots, but at least he had that. I think he did a really good job. He plugged his wine. He was sipping. He was real casual. He was really confident. I thought he did a great job. And I think even Kevin Hart made a comment about how like you probably dealt with enough in your life, because that was probably a really tough thing to go through when you're a football player and season ending. I think he eventually got traded or moved to a different team after that, but I'm sure it was never the same, and definitely not at the level of Tom Brady.
Didn't win a Super Bowl.
But he had the courage, just like Tom Brady, to come there tonight and show everybody what he was made of nonetheless.
I think, was it him that made the joke that was like, you know, Tom Brady, you took so much from me, but I have like, you know, one thing you don't have, and it's that I'm celebrating my 28th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, that was him. And he was like, love you, baby. He was like, no, it was really yesterday.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, but
happy for Drew though, and happy for his wine. I would love to try a bottle.
Yeah.
We should go to the winery.
Drew, if you're listening to
out.
this, we'd love to come visit.
Thanks, Drew.
And then some other honorable mentions. Gronk, we kind of touched on him already, but he did play into his jock kind of dumb character. Since we've been talking about Nikki Glaser, I think one of the jokes that she made was about Tom Brady and how he lost $30 million in crypto. And she's like, and even Gronk thought, you know, me no think that's a good idea. I don't think that was what it was, but
Like, me no, that's not real money.
yeah, that's what it was. My bad, I totally ruined that, but
It's such a Gronk move of you.
I know. It's almost midnight, so
No, Gronk was so funny. I like never really got tired of all the Gronk stupid jokes.
yeah.
And
I
it was
started feeling bad for him though, but I think he was fine.
I think he loves it, low key.
Yeah.
Like I really think he leans into it. And like when he was up there, because I was like, okay, let's see what he's got. Everyone's calling him stupid all night, and now it's his time to get on the mic. And he acted stupid. Like not like in a way of like I'm trying to make fun of anyone, but I truly think he's leaning into it. Like when he was like making jokes and he goes, haha, I just made that one up myself.
Yeah. And then he was like, I'm actually really creative, but all you guys think I'm a like dumb fuck or something. Everybody in the world think I'm a dumb fuck.
I was a little bit. Do you ever like when any of them were on stage? Like when the comedians were on stage, I was like relaxed because I knew that they knew what they were doing. But anytime a coach was on stage or an athlete, I was like a little bit tense because I was really nervous for them. And he was one that I never untensed. I was like, I'm nervous for him the entire time.
Yeah, that's true.
And he never really picked up speed.
Yeah. I mean, and he had, it seemed like this was not planned, but he took the shot at the end of his speech and then he throws it on the floor.
Yes. And it was like glass.
Yeah. And people were like, where are the hazard masks? And like, this could have gotten in my eye.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah. I feel like that was a little unhinged of him, but in true Gronk behavior, like, I guess that makes sense. But also we're at the roast and it's live. And there's probably some very, you know, very important people in the front row that you could have knocked out.
I'm happy.
Glass.
Yeah, I'm happy he was there though, because I really think that he was a good sport. He took so many strays, but it was really funny.
Yeah, he definitely did a good job. And this is probably a hot take, but since we were talking about, you know, some people that we just wanted to protect while on the roast, I will say Bill Belichick was obviously there. He was the head coach of the Patriots. Him, Tom Brady, and the owner, Robert Kraft, they've all had their differences, but Bill Belichick recently got let go. He was fired from the Patriots, and now there was a lot of jokes about how he doesn't have a job. But the minute he walked out on that stage, I was like, please protect this man.
He looks so sweet.
He looked so sweet.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
In confidence?
Yeah.
When he walked out on his stage in his suit, I thought, why didn't we feature him in the top 5 coaches? Or the top hottest 5 coaches?
And you remember we were throwing his name around, but we just were like, ha, 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 ha.
And
no.
he looked so good. I think the few weeks off of work have been good for him.
I think so too. And he has I think historically not done a lot of media. He doesn't like to be in front of the camera, doesn't like to do press. But now that he doesn't have a head coaching job and he's trying to start something new, we have been seeing him do a little bit more reporting. He's at the draft. He's making commentary about, certain quarterbacks. And you see him come to the roast and present and do some roast on Tom Brady. Like, that's so out of character for him.
Yeah.
And to see him land some of these jokes and him smile and like people laughing in the crowd, and you can tell it meant so much to him. At least I think it did. And I think I have a new love for Bill Belichick, and I'm so excited for his new chapter in his life, and I just wish him all the best, because he was the only person that came from behind the stage, I think, and sat down on the couch. Everybody else left afterwards, so he had the courage to stay on the couch with everybody else while they were making roast about him. Peyton Manning and Ben Affleck, they left right when they were done with their set.
No, I agree with you.
notable.
He had like a really sweet vibe about him, and I think it's nice seeing him outside of the context of being the Patriots coach and just looking so angry and disheveled, and in the recent seasons just disappointed in his team. It was also funny what you were talking about, how he doesn't like the media. I think they had him come out after Will Ferrell playing Ron Burgundy, and he goes, "This is the only media I trust." I'm like, is this the whole point of them bringing Ron Burgundy out so Bill Belichick could have like a guaranteed punchline?
Yeah, we'll take that.
We'll take it all day.
Yeah, it was sweet. He did such a good job. I know that. Yeah, he made some jokes. I guess a lot of the players made some jokes or just some commentary about how Bill Belichick was as a head coach, because he was just so headstrong and just like your stereotypical, like, I'm going to be really tough on you, coach. And he would make comments like, the kids at Foxborough High can make a play like that better than you can. And that was made a few times. But I'm here for Bill's soft boy era,
I think we need that at the ripe age of 72. It's time to soften up, big guy.
Yeah. Even you at 72 can change your life and turn things around. But that's all I had to say about Bill.
Wait, what were you guys calling Caleb Williams? He's pretty boy or
Baby girl.
Baby.
Bill Belichick. Those nails painted.
Oh, I would live for Bill Belichick transitioning to baby girl.
Cheeks when he was up on stage.
He was smiling.
No, he was so cute.
He was really
And
sweet.
that's and someone else who is an asshole in Bill's book is obviously Robert Kraft. When Robert Kraft was given the mic, I swear, like, my phone was about to call 911 because I was like ready to call an ambulance for him. Like, he was shaking the whole time.
Even when him and Bill, they did the shot, his hand, like, it was literally on the podium, like the spillage
this man's
of
going
the shot.
to fall over. No, so yeah, the shot with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick was an absolutely iconic moment of the night. These two men have been beefing for years and years, even obviously before Bill Belichick was fired this last season. It has been just mounting. They've been saying really negative things about each other. I think Robert Kraft was saying Bill Belichick didn't know how to manage and coach the team, and it had just gotten so ugly. And I don't know if this was planned, but I'm guessing not, that Kevin Hart was like, hey, what about if you guys came and did a shot together? And there was a big delay, and they ended up doing it, and it was a crazy moment. Do we think it was planned? Do we think they were given a heads up, or he just kind of went for it?
It feels like there was some hesitation, but I don't think it was planned.
I think they would have said no if they were given the opportunity ahead of time.
And I think they know that the weight that would carry if they both said no, and they were probably a little bit pressured by the fact that it was live, and they were like, well, how will this look if we don't do this? We just got to do this for the camera.
And do it for Tom too, because they're, not there technically to promote themselves. Obviously, underlying, they're there to promote themselves, but they got to tell themselves, like, this is Tom's roast. They both love Tom. So maybe they did it for him too.
Totally.
But yeah, I feel like Robert Kraft's shot was definitely water. I don't think he is having hard alcohol at
It looked very
plus.
clear.
Yeah. And it looks like he didn't cringe at all.
Yeah. No, he didn't. Well, shall we get to Tom Brady?
The man of the hour
Yeah.
finally steps on stage and has his chance to rebuttal against everything that was said about him.
Yeah. And he did deliver because, again, he was in the last 10 minutes or whatever of the roast. So much time has gone by. I think that he's heard enough about what everybody has to say about him. So he seemed very fired up in this moment.
Yep.
And he definitely addressed Deflategate. And we can do a whole episode about the whole history of all this, but he cracks a joke about that. And he makes a note to how the NFL paid $20 million to try to cover it up in a sense. But he was like, if you would have just given me the $20 million, I would have told you I deflated the balls myself. So I love
really
that he made a comment about that. Were you going to say something?
No, I think I dropped my phone aggressively on accident.
Oh, sorry.
It's a weird way to get our attention.
I thought that one was a pretty standout joke. And then the other one that came top of mind was, there's a lot of speculation on whether it was Bill Belichick or Tom Brady that deserves, like, who was responsible for the dynasty of the Patriots. And he kind of made a joke about how in the Indy 500, you never ask who pumps the gas in your car during the Indy 500. And, I think that they both made jokes and they both have their own opinions about it, because Bill Belichick is like, well, I drafted you, so you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me.
Yeah. And Tom was like, I did all the work. All you did was put gas in my car. Which that was savage.
Fair. He's the one on the field.
He's not, and definitely not even close to a field anymore. But the one joke too that's going viral is, of course, the Kim Kardashian call out. I think every pop culture outlet is talking about this joke where he calls Kim out and says, Kim Kardashian's here and she was really nervous about coming tonight, not because of the roast, but because she had to leave her kids at home with their dads. And I thought that was a really good joke.
That was a really good one. And her face, I can't quite tell if she liked it or not, but she was just, I don't know what you do in that moment, especially when the camera is literally like where the mic is right now in my face. That would be kind of scary, but.
Well, I think she's used to like that aspect of the camera in your face, but maybe she's used to it, of how much she was booed the entire night to the point where they had to cut parts of it out of the not the live stream, but the repost of it.
Yeah.
So if you were there in person or you were watching it live, you saw that she got booed throughout the entire night, like Roger Goodell status. And I think that they just felt so bad for her that they had to take some of it out. But do you think it's that NFL people don't like him, or do you think that there are Swifties there who are responding to the Thank You, Amy song?
I didn't think about that, but my initial reaction to the Kim boos was, okay, the common person who is at this roast is probably a big sports fan, particularly a Patriots fan. People on the East Coast don't really like LA people, especially the Kardashians. So in my head, I'm like, okay, these are all the really intense football fans that are just like so anti Hollywood and everything that Kim K is. But then again, it was in LA and it was at the Forum, so that might not be true. Maybe if it was at Foxborough, like in Boston, then that would
Which
be different.
would be different.
But it could be. I actually didn't think about the Taylor Swift effect of that piece. But
I was thinking that it was more the Taylor effect, and thinking about the boos, I'm sure it's not the professionals in the audience, because they had the celebrity audience. I don't think those people are necessarily booing at another person in their audience.
I did hear claps.
Okay.
And then there were some boos.
I'm sure the boos were coming from the people who purchased tickets, as any of us could have done in LA. Yeah. And I believe that would be people that were just going to Netflix as a joke, who live in LA. Not who like love Taylor Swift, because I'm not sure. I mean, obviously now there's much more of a Taylor Swift and football fan overlap, but maybe just comedy fans.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Possibly.
they did not like Kim K at the roast.
They didn't. A lot
And
of
so-
worlds colliding there.
It was nuts. Pop culture, football, comedy, everything.
Yeah. What more can you ask for?
I mean, it was an amazing night.
Well, it brings us to our next topic, which is where do we see Tom next? What's up next for good old
Poor old
Tom?
Tommy boy. Well, he has a job was lined up with was it CBS Sports? He's going to be doing some commentating for them.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a natural progression for him.
His face belongs on TV.
Yeah,
He's got a face for television, broadcast, not radio.
Yeah.
So I see him there.
yeah. I sure hope so. I don't know if I would say he should be in movies because his face doesn't move. Like it is
Yeah.
very frozen.
I feel like movie stars
looks
can't
great.
get Botox because they need to be more expressive.
Yeah, like his face, I couldn't tell if he ever frowned ever.
Did someone say, maybe this was part of Nikki Glaser's set or someone else said he looked like an AI version of himself? Like that's so true.
It is, yeah. But we're excited to see him doing some commentary during the season.
Yeah.
that'll be fun. And he if he weren't doing that, what could be fun and exciting for Tom Brady?
Well, I would hope that his line of supplements and nutrition and health foods would kick off and maybe get some popularity.
Yeah.
He's living in Florida. Maybe he should move all that out to LA because I think that has a better shot at surviving at a place like LA. So maybe something like that. Like maybe he could open like the next Sun Life in LA or something like that. I think his dating in the future will be heavily watched. So that'll give us something fun to focus on for Tom. But
For sure.
as many jokes were made as his best days are behind him. And unfortunately, it's hard to not agree with that because the average person doesn't win 6 Super Bowls twice in their lifetime. So I think that he has a very bright future ahead. I am just so curious what that looks like for someone who's so addicted to just the adrenaline and the fame and the praise that he got during his career in the NFL, so much so that he unretired and played again and lost his wife. So I'm like, I don't know if being a commentator will be fulfilling enough. He has a supplement brand, but will any of it? I think maybe Hollywood and movies is the next step because I could see that being just another level of fame that he could see himself in. But
Yeah. And maybe this roast was him setting himself up to possibly be in front of the camera more and possibly with Netflix. Who knows?
I didn't like his comedic style. It felt very forced and awkward to me.
Yeah, he was definitely putting on a performance and acted very like I'm the man. And
it was weird.
I think that whoever wrote his jokes was playing into the character of Tom Brady, and the way that he executed it was it was a little overdone.
It was a little bit, like his tone was super cocky, which it makes sense, but it wasn't resonating with me.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the part that he was reading it off of a teleprompter and not actually saying it himself.
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning was when it was the most like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
But then he got a little bit more natural as it progressed.
And I just have trouble with that in general for any sort of comedian or any person who's their job on stage is to make jokes and make people laugh and have good comedic timing and be smart and witty. And it's all written by someone else and you're just reading it. Like there's just a disconnect for me there. So
Yeah.
I would love to know how much him and all the other athletes actually wrote versus just were given scripts and had to learn them and rehearse them and all of that. But I think that also just felt a little bit off to me with his delivery, just knowing that a team of comedians wrote it for him.
Yeah.
Which
no, that's fair.
that happens.
Yeah.
It's not that, that's not what's expected, but
Yeah. And it was the
It
first
didn't
time
hit.
he's done that. Athletes that are stepping into a new realm of entertainment and reading a script. Now there's a comedic element involved. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's the first, that's new for a lot of them. So overall, successful night. Tom Brady did great. Who
did
knows? Maybe
awesome.
he'll start his own production company like Peyton Manning, Omaha Productions.
oh my God.
He's doing great though. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll do a media battle.
That would be wild.
future. We could
That
see
I
it.
feel like Tom would love that.
Yeah.
He needs the competition in his life.
Yeah, take the competition off the field and now it's with ads or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be there. But we're proud.
We're proud.
Good
I
old
think
Tommy boy.
whatever he has in front of him, he will succeed.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome.
Well, that is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to we're recording on Friday. You're hearing this on a Wednesday. We were joking in the beginning if we were going to call this a Wine Wednesday episode, but we thought that'd be too millennial and embarrassing.
So we said we're drinking wine. We settled on that.
We're drinking wine and you're listening on Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening to Girls Don't Fumble, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Cheers.